Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Strickland, and for this week's discussion forum, I'll be discussing whether chemical dependency is a disease or if it can be used to ease the problems going on in the people using these chemicals' lives. When I first read this week's prompt, I was a little bit confused on whether it was talking about like hardcore drugs like cocaine, methamphetamine, opioids, Percocets, which is opioids, but anyway, I was confused whether it was talking about actual hardcore drugs that these people are getting addicted to, or if it's talking about medications for depression, anxiety, PTSD, mental disorders. So I'm kind of going to discuss both. And I'm going to kind of discuss it by using a personal experience. When I was 10, I think, I was diagnosed with ADD. They put me on Adderall for this. At 10 years old, switching to a completely unmedicated lifestyle and then starting Adderall, it was a huge change. Like, it messed with my head. I was depressed, I had anxiety, I had like all these mental things going on that I never realized that the root of it was Adderall until I got off of it. And there's so many drugs like this that are causing these mental disorders. So whenever I got on Adderall and I was depressed, I had anxiety, I then had to start taking Zoloft for my depression. And I can't remember the name of the medicine that they put me on for anxiety, but I was now, instead of taking one medicine for my ADD, because of this one medicine, I was now having to take 3 medicines. And all these medicines have such side effects, and it's unhealthy. It's awful, especially I was 10 years old, and I went through this until I was about 14 when I finally made up my mind that I wanted to do it naturally. And I think that in certain situations, like PTSD patients, schizophrenic patients, there are medications that can be helpful for this, but I think that if it's just depression or anxiety, there are so many more natural ways to cope and deal with these sort of symptoms other than actual drugs. Because like, I've started going to therapy recently, and she asked me, she was like, would you like to be put on any medicines to help with depression and anxiety? And I told her no, because one thing that I have learned through growing up on these medications and all the thoughts that these medications put inside my head is that there are natural ways to cope with things. Being put on a medication, most of the medications for these mental disorders are not medications that you can just take every now and again. Like, you have to stick to them, and they can really mess with your head and mess with a whole bunch of aspects of your life. A lot of ADHD medicines turn children into robots. Like, I am a 10 times over again completely, you would not recognize me when I'm on Adderall versus when I'm not. And I don't like that. I don't like not feeling like the full version of myself. So I think that when it comes to mental disorders, these medications, they either need to make them more natural and less thought-provoking medication, or they need to do it naturally without any medication. They need discipline and therapy and other things that are not going to mess with their heads. When it comes to drugs, I don't think that there is ever an excuse for any situation to use hardcore drugs like Percocet or meth or any of these other hardcore drugs, because all they do is get you dependent and hurt you in the long run. And overall, I just think that all drugs have downfalls and all drugs have side effects, and I think that especially children at a young age do not need to be introduced to this. I think that there needs to be more natural alternatives than drugs. I think that they are more a disease than easing. But thank you guys, bye.